Welcome into Top of the Perch, episode 2 of the season, as it is Tottenham 4, Everton 0. Tottenham get their first win on the season, first win at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this year. And it was a very, very different game from what we saw last week. Well, difference in scoreline, I should say. We still had a lot of moments that felt like it was last week. And, this was a completely different team from what I saw against Leicester. Leicester, like I said, it looked like they were playing a preseason game out there. They kind of tuned off after the first goal. Now, I will say, it did look for moments like Tottenham tuned off after the first goal here. But obviously things got figured out and we end up here. A big story of this first half, I would say, once again, corners. Corner kicks were just plentiful in this half. They didn't do anything from them in the first half, at least. But the opportunities were there. Second minute of the game, there was a corner thrown into the box. It gets thrown around, of course. It ends up going out, getting back into Madison, who takes a shot on net to Pickford. It doesn't even get close. It gets blocked. And then, it's a scramble for the ball, goes out of play. But it was a brilliantly driven in ball by Kulusevski. It's just, it didn't get on the right head. It didn't get the right, move. And then it ends up with shot from Christian Romero before it bounces back out of the box to Madison. But the Romero shot was directed right at Pickford. So, you can't do anything about that. We get to the 6th minute, a brilliantly drawn up play ends up with Wilson Odegaard. Just what seems like we'll get to him in a minute, but he feeds it to Son outside the box. He takes a shot. Pickford makes an outstanding save. Once again, Jordan Pickford had his moments today, but also he had some quite miserable ones. 11th minute, James Maddison, a brilliant ball. Looks like he's offsides, but he's not. He is one-on-one with Pickford. It shoots it right at Pickford. You have to make that stop, or you got to make that shot there. 14th minute, we finally get to the first goal of the game. A Kulusevski pass to Bissouma right outside the box. He blasted into the top corner of the net, and it is 1-0 to Tottenham. It felt like this was very much coming in this game, at least at the pace it was going. Tottenham get a 1-0 lead early. For Bissouma, obviously, was out last week because of the social media posts that he got suspended for. He comes back this week. It looks like, he apologized to, the fans, to the crowd, to everybody on, social media. He shouldn't have done what he did. He gets back in the starting lineup, earns back the trust of this team. Absolute banger of a first goal in this game. I was a bit hesitant on starting him today. I kind of wondered what we're doing. But, when you come out and score a banger like that, I can't really, I got to admit that I was wrong. I expected it to be Gray or Bergvall. It ends up being Bissouma. Bissouma puts it in the back of the net. 1-0 to Tottenham. 25th minute, a throw in from Everton gets back to Pickford, and Son's chasing down Pickford. A little bit of a push. Pickford goes down, and it is Son with just an open net. He puts it in the back. It is 2-0 to Tottenham. Brilliant for Son because, sometimes Son or Johnson or, Kulusevski, Odegaard, anybody in a play like that, it doesn't feel like they really chase down the keeper that often. I think Son saw an opportunity here. He did that. Obviously, it pays off. Thought maybe there would have been a foul mixed in there. There wasn't, obviously. And Son doubles the lead for Tottenham. It was a Pickford mistake, and Son very much capitalized on that one. That was really the true last opportunity of the half, it felt like, for Tottenham. Everton had one chance right before halftime with a corner kick. It kept getting bounced around in the box, and you're like, Everton's going to get on this, and it's just going to get blasted in the net, and it's going to be 2-1. They don't. So that was good for Tottenham as we go into the half, up 2-0. So, I mean, we took a look at these last week, and we'll take a look at them again this week. The halftime stats. Tottenham had 76% possession in this first half. It was out and out, just control from start to finish. Everton, like I said, didn't have many opportunities. They ended up having 8 total shots on the half, but none of them were on target. All of them were like right inside the box. Everton just couldn't like really get much going in that attacking third. For Tottenham, it was 9 shots, 5 of them on target. Of course, 2 of them end up in the back of the net. And, you know, it was really controlling first half for Tottenham. And we saw that in the Leicester game. We saw it again today. Obviously, much more of the question was, you know, are you going to take the foot off the gas after, you know, the first or second goal? I'd say they kind of leaned off a bit after the second goal, and it kind of transitioned into that way in the second half, and we'll get into that stuff in a minute. But, I mean, it was a very good performance today from this Spurs side in the first half. Corners, like I said, that was a big thing this half. 8 total corners for Tottenham this first half. It was only 4 for Everton, which is more than it was last week, but also less for Tottenham than it was last week there. So we move on to the second half. Very good second half from Tottenham, even though, like I said, they kind of were struggling a bit. James Maddison had a free kick from just right outside the box and right around the 64th or 65th minute, right around there. A beautiful shot on target. Just it's forced into a save after a block. All that stuff. Then we get to the 71st minute. I'll get once again on a corner, a ball driven in, and it's a beautiful ball driven in by Kulusevski once again. It might have been Kulusevski on that one. It might not have been. I don't 100% remember. But right there in the box was Christian Romero. He heads it into the back of the net, and it is 3-0 Tottenham. Tottenham get their first goal off of a corner this year, which after what feels like they've had 50 opportunities this year, felt like that was, finally coming. And Romero is the one to deliver that. Christian Romero, his 6th goal in the past 2 years, I believe it is. That is the most for a Premier League defender in that time span. So he likes these opportunities. He likes getting in the box on corners and finding a header somewhere. 77th minute. Mickey van de Ven intercepts the ball at the top of his own box. Runs past almost every Everton defender into the attacking box, dumps it off to Son. Son puts it in the back of the net for his brace. It is 4-0 Tottenham. Incredible pace from Mickey van de Ven. Incredible run. It was so perfect. If Van de Ven would have scored that on his own, that's an incredible goal. You're basically going field to field. But for him to realize that Son was there with the open opportunity on net and would put that in the back of the net and to dump that off, that just takes an extra level. And I've said it since we purchased him, Mickey van de Ven. Incredible purchase for Tottenham. Is money well spent. Hopefully, much more of that to come. But that was truly the real last opportunity of this match as Tottenham began to, obviously really sit back after that. A lot of substitutions from their rest. Got a bigger game coming up this weekend, or next weekend, I should say. But let's get into the full-time stats from this one. So we saw Tottenham heavily possessed the first half. They had a little bit less control in the second half, but overall in this game, they still controlled 71% of the possession in this one. 13 total shots on net, or total shots, I should say, 7 shots on net. For Everton, it was 10 shots total this game. Only one of them was on target. So that means only one shot really Vicario faced today. Shots inside the box, it was a 9-10 split with Everton just having that slight advantage. But for Everton, no shots outside of the box. So it would be Tottenham with that advantage there. If we look at the expected goals, kind of where you would expect it for a match like this. Everton, maybe not so much, as they're sitting at 0.97. So that's basically right around a goal. Tottenham at 2.36. So, a little balancing off there. But corners 12-5. No yellow cards in this game. That kind of shocked me. I figured we'd have a few thrown in there just because they always love to throw in one. But we do not get that. It was Everton with the foul count, though, the higher one in this game, 15-11. But like I said, the brilliant game from Tottenham. They should have got this type of result in the first game. But you can't look back. Always got to keep looking forward. And, we move on. So let's move on into, of course, as always, the player ratings. So we moved to a different lineup for today. It was the 4-2-3-1 against Leicester. Today we moved to a 4-3-3, given that Dominic Solanke was out with injury. He should be back next week. But that, of course, moves Son into that top position. And you have the debut of Oibert, and you have Johnson on the right side. It is quite an attacking three. It was entertaining to watch, very entertaining to watch. In the midfield, you'd had and I felt like all three of these guys kind of interchanged their positions within this match when they were playing, of course. This kind of just felt like where they were sitting at, with Basuma and Kulusevski just sitting a little bit more back than Madison, but like I said, they kind of interchange throughout the game. And the back four and goalkeeper do not change from the Leicester game on Monday. So, player ratings. Wilson Odegaard. What a performance. Debut game. He was only brought in the end of last week, I believe. I was shocked that he kind of got the start. I figured he would maybe next week, but what a performance he put on. He took on his man without, even hesitation. He looked incredible. Some of the passes he was making makes him look like he's a veteran of this, league. And you do have to hold back expectations a little because it is Everton, but he looked incredible. He earns a 7.8. I'm surprised he didn't get at least an assist in this game with the way he was playing, but those assists will come. Heung-min's son is going to be your man of the match. He earns a 9.2 with his 2 goals today. And, after the worry of last week, I'm like, Son maybe, slowing down again. He puts on this type of performance, and it's absolutely incredible. His 2 goals are, I know the score was 4-0, but the 2 goals were the reason Tottenham won this game. And just when it feels like when we need somebody to step up in that center position, it's sometimes like it isn't Son's day, but most of the time it feels like Son just makes it work somehow. And he ends up with goals, and that's what he did in this game. Brendan Johnson, once again, it's not the greatest of performances, I'll be honest. It really isn't. I mentioned last week, or not last week, it was like 5 days ago, that I'm still kind of worried that we spent so much money on a project player, and, the project still isn't, looking like it's progressing at all. But I still hold out hope. If Solanke is back next week, I 100% expect Johnson to be on the bench and Odegaard on the right, Son back on the left, and Solanke out middle. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. Johnson, I don't think he's had a good first 2 games when these are the games you should be doing good, and especially against, competition like Leicester and Everton. We get to the midfield. We'll start off with James Maddison. He had an assist today. He He earns an 8.1. It seems like he has regained his form that was so much lost at the end of last year. Basically coming back from that injury that he sustained against Chelsea in November. We did not see the same James Maddison again last season. That James Maddison seems to be back, and I could not be more thrilled by that. He is a key player for us this year, and we need him to show up like he has in these first 2 games so far. Bissouma gets the goal, like I said. His first ever goal for Tottenham Hotspur. I kind of was a little bit shocked by that when I heard that to begin with, but it does kind of make sense. He hasn't really had the greatest of starts here. But, coming off the suspension, your first game of the season, there's no better way than to score an absolute banger of a goal than it is to score that type of goal. Kulusevski, honestly, I think Kulusevski plays quite good in the midfield. Like, if he's playing upper midfield, he's a very good player there, much better than when he's on the wing. I wouldn't be surprised if this is something that is kind of considered going forward. He earns an 8.3 in this game, got an assist. He seemed to be in the box all the time, even though he was in the midfield. It feels like when you don't require him to be that guy feeding into the box, he is a very, very good player. So I'm going to be interested to see what Postecoglou, manages here and tries to figure out with Kulusevski going on the rest of the season. Destiny Udogie, he got subbed off with an injury. Postecoglou kind of said it was just, tired legs. It's obviously been a long week. You have the match Monday night, and then you have a Saturday afternoon game just, a few days later. Would have been nice to, be playing tomorrow, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. Here in 7.5, I didn't think it was the best game from him, but it definitely was not the worst. These back 2 right here, Van de Ven and Romero, I say it every time they have a good game. They feed off of each other, and they make it themselves or make each other better for playing together. Van de Ven earns an 8.2. Romero earns an 8.8. Romero's header was just absolutely incredible. Insane defensive performance today. Van de Ven, that run for the assist on Son's 4th goal, that needs to be like textbook, counter-attacking type play right there. And then you got Porro. He earns a 7.7. I thought he had a pretty decent game today. It wasn't great, wasn't terrible. He went down a few times, looked like he was in real pain, which, got me a little nervous, but he was fine, played through it. We move on. Vicario earned a 7.6. He didn't really face much today, so not much there to grade. We look at our substitutions. Sarr and Richarlison came on in the 66th minute. Sarr earns a 6.6. Richarlison a 6.8. They both were. It felt like from the bench today, it was more you're being put in to manage the game. You're not being put in to chase anything. So just go out there and manage the game. And that's what they did. Same with Gray, Spence, and Bergvall. They kind of all get right around the same 6.2 to 6.8 range, it feels. And it's just because they weren't put out there to go chasing a goal. They were put out there to manage the game. They did their job well. And that's where we end up. Postecoglou earns a 9. I thought the lineup we got today, given the injuries to, Bentancur and to Solanke, I thought the changes to this lineup were very well put. Sarr didn't have a great game on Monday. And you obviously change up this midfield. I thought it was very well managed game today. Now, can he do that type of managerial game against a big team? That is the real question, and we'll get one of our first answers coming up next Sunday, the last game before an international break. Yes, we are going to be 3 games into the season. It's already an international break as Spurs travel up to Newcastle, St. James Park, a place that has not been fun for Tottenham these past few years as they go up against the Magpies. Sunday, it is a 8:30 kickoff here Eastern time in America, which means it is a 1:30 kickoff, I believe, in England, something around there. But we, of course, will be here to recap everything that happens at St. James Park that day, good or bad. So prior to that, I believe, is the Europa League group stage, so we'll probably have a video for that there. But given that, that is going to wrap up this recap issue of Top of the Perch. Thank you so much for watching. If you just stumbled across this video, click like, click subscribe, tell anybody you know about it. We'll be back. Like I said, I think Europa League draw is this Thursday or Friday, so we'll be back to recap who Tottenham are playing in Europe this year. And then we'll be back on Sunday to recap that Newcastle-Tottenham game. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again soon for another episode of Top of the Perch.